Rage Whale. Three friends, too many opinions, one podcast. This is episode 60, where I'm off enjoying a meal with my lovely wife and leave Kev James to discuss top 10 lists of movies, from M. Night Shyamalan to classic movies that were panned by critics at their first release. Hope you enjoy the episode.
Okay.
Because it's like, hi guys. This is, although it's a normal episode, I think we're kind of treating this as a little bit of a bonus episode because we just had a really good guest on, and we're only meant to have the guest on for like an hour to an hour and a half, and we did 2.5 hours and only stopped because people's batteries ran out. We could have gone on for a lot longer. And that's Elijah Baker, the actor, and we're going to have him on again for a part 2 some point in the near future. So
remember to send him a picture of your Billy Connolly artwork.
Oh yes, yeah. He loves Billy Connolly. That was nice. He was just absolute legend, wasn't he? Such a good guy. Funny
Bright
as
future.
hell.
How old is he? We didn't bring that up, actually.
I haven't a clue. He's not Emmanuel Bonamy. He's not an enigma. We can probably find out.
There's only one Emmanuel Bonamy. One day we'll have him on here. Can you imagine the day?
Oh, you don't listen to the episodes back, but we spoke to Kate about that and said if we can get Emmanuel Bonamy on, we will quit the podcast. That will be the epitome of everything.
Yeah. I can't even remember how he even came up or why he became such an icon.
He's early 30s.
Okay,
Elijah.
fair enough. Because when we were talking about stuff, I was like, he knows a lot of the same references we do. So I was like, he can't be that much younger than us.
Yeah, definitely younger, but not by less than a decade. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I didn't watch anything in the cinema this week because there's been nothing on. Absolutely nothing. It's been
I'll tell you what I did watch, actually. I watched a film the other day, and I actually thought it was quite good. Bear with, though.
Because I've got a few little topic things I thought would be fun to discuss. Oh, as well, by the way, you like Whiplash, don't you? That is the drumming film.
I've never seen it, but yeah.
Oh, it's coming back for a 10th anniversary back to the cinema. So that's no use to you at all.
I watched a film that is not new, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's from 2016. One of my favourite actors, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Amy Addams.
Oh, I was going to say,
Isla Fisher is
great
also in it.
because Whiplash was out then, and so was Birdman with Michael Keaton, which were both incredible.
Isla Fisher is in it, and Aaron Taylor Johnson, probably one of his earlier films then, after Kick-Ass, 2016.
Isla Fisher, 2016. Was it? No. 2016.
Shall I just tell you what it was?
Is it Nocturnal Animals?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent movie, I thought.
Yeah.
Very weird how it's filmed. Like, the actual film is a book that someone's reading, but about the person that actually is playing the part in the book, who was her former lover, sort of thing. Very, very good.
I remember it being good. I don't remember it being great, but I remember it being quite
excellent.
good.
That's probably a bit. I think the problem is, I said it was excellent because where it's 10 years old, it's kind of in a genre of films they don't really make anymore.
Yeah,
so it was very different. And I think when I watch something different now, I'm a bit over impressed.
Well, that's it, isn't it? That's the state of play sometimes. If something's average, it's amazing. But it's
the guy who plays the
Addams is amazing in it.
The copper in it. What's the copper called?
The copper, Michael Shannon.
The one that's got is basically a cowboy.
That would be Michael Shannon, I guess. There's Arnie Hammers in it as well.
Yeah, Michael Shannon.
Oh, Laura Linney's in it. Michael Sheen. Fucking everyone's in this film.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very good cast. I do not recall Michael Sheen being in it, and I watched it 2 days ago.
Well, he'll be something small. His name's Carlos in it, so he might be heavily made up or...
That's where I recognise Michael Shannon from. He was Zod in Superman, wasn't he?
Was he? Oh, Michael Shannon. Yeah. Not Michael Sheen.
That would have been hilarious.
No, that's different.
Funny enough, I did watch Unbreakable again with Michael Sheen and Samuel Jackson.
Michael Sheen's in that?
Not Unbreakable.
Yeah, Unbreakable. One with Bruce Willis and...
No.
Is this episode just us naming things?
Talk amongst yourself.
There's only me here. Oh yeah, we
Yeah, I
can
know.
tell everyone Drew's not here because he is currently
Unthinkable. Sorry, unthinkable.
unthinkable. Drew's being
It's
very, very selfish right now and having a meal with his lovely wife in a hotel in Brighton. Like,
he's not.
God,
He sat in some weird guy's house in a G-string eating Special K. And for
warm
the
milk.
relevance of that joke, listen to the previous episode.
Yeah.
And also, if you've got 50 quid spare, Drew is going cheap. Yeah, Unthinkable. Sorry,
Anything for 50 quid, apparently.
Have you seen Unthinkable?
I don't even know
Michael
what that
Sheen's a
is.
terrorist.
Oh, yeah. We spoke about
And
that the other week. Yeah, I
Samuel
remember.
Jackson's like the interrogator.
I forgot
And
about
at
that.
the end, they actually do blow up half of New York or whatever, like accidentally.
Well, I was gonna. I had these things ready for like. So there was a couple of previous episodes ago. There was like I had a few ideas about some conversation topics, and we never got round to using them. And I'm just trying to find it because we were talking about certain films, and I thought that it'd be quite good to look at like top fives and top tens of certain things. But there was some films we watched, like M. Night Shyamalan films.
Well,
and I
I'm doing
saw...
some Hollywood magic right now.
Why? What you doing?
Hollywood magic.
I think he's changing clothing.
New episode, new clothes.
Ah.
Not to give away the illusion that we film 2 in one night sometimes.
That's never happened. Don't be lying.
No.
Right, so I saw on this little page they do like top tens or some stuff. I just want to see if we agree or if we put a different order. The best M. Night Shyamalan movies.
Do you know, I'm not great with M. Night Shimmy Jam movies, Jimmy Jab games.
It doesn't.
We'll go with it.
It doesn't include Trap in this, which I'd put near the top. But
a lot of people didn't like it. I find it weird.
I know. I thought it was, even whether it's, if you knew it was M. Night Shyamalan, that might put you off or turn you on. If you just watch it as a standalone movie, I think it was brilliant.
It was good.
But the top 10, going from worst to best, I disagree straight away. But in 10 is old. I thought that was all right. It wasn't great. It was all right. It's a weird.
I came away from that film feeling a bit indifferent. Like, if I hadn't seen it, if it had never been written, I wouldn't have been that bothered. But it was, for what it was something different, I guess.
Yeah, that's the important thing. It doesn't always have to be good, but it's pushed some boundaries. It's done something different. It's thought outside of Marvel and done something new at the time when that's all we were getting.
Would I go into work and say, "Oh, go and watch this film"? No. But if someone's like, "Oh, can you recommend any films that are a bit like weird, a bit different?" Yeah.
Yeah. Number 9 is The Happening. Isn't that the one with Mark Wahlberg?
Don't know.
It is. Mark Wahlberg, Zoe Deschanel, science
Zoe
teacher.
Deschanel.
Yeah, a science teacher's wife and a young girl struggle to survive a plague that causes those infected to commit suicide.
I don't think I could take Zoe Deschanel as a serious actress after New Girl.
It's got John Louisiano as well. I don't really remember that film being particularly good. Number 8, Knock at the Cabin. Have you seen that one?
Oh, I've seen so many cabin films. Like, which one is it?
It's fairly new. It's the one with Dave Bautista.
No.
It's while vacationing, a girl and her parents are taken hostage by armed strangers who demand that the family make a choice to avert the apocalypse. It's all a bit mental. It's basically they get kidnapped. They go to a cabin in the woods, and there's like 3 guys there that stalk them, and then, but not horror-wise. It's more action and violence. And they bring them to the cabin and strap them up. And it's for the basic twist. It's not. I'm not giving away the ending, but it's not to kidnap them. It's to protect them.
I remember watching the trailer, and the last thing I thought was M. Night Shyamalan when I saw the trailer.
Yeah, it's got really good moments, really tense moments, but ultimately, when you see the ending, you're so fucked off that you sat through an hour and a half for that ending. That's the biggest problem with M. Night Shyamalan, is that you know you're getting something different, and you know it's going to be shit or amazing.
Sorry to interrupt the show. Just a reminder to say, we love and appreciate you all for listening to the podcast. whether it's on Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, follow, as this really helps us continue to progress and improve the content and keeps us making these fun episodes for you guys. Oh, we're also on these things called Instagram and TikTok. You can follow us there too, as we share short, funny reels on the reg that you can share with friends if you like. Now, back to the mayhem.
Again, there's not much in between. Number 7's The Visit. Have you even seen that one? I don't think I have.
You really picked a great director, Baron. None of us have seen these films.
Yeah, but it's relevant because we're doing an M. Night Shyamalan a couple of episodes. 6, these are the ones we'll all know now. Glass, that was good.
The whole series were good.
Yeah, I did think, James McAvoy, Bruce Willis, Samuel Jackson.
I'm assuming the other 2 films are up there.
Yeah.
The other 3 films are in there.
Number 5 is The Village, which I think was
ending.
Wasn't that like his second or third film after?
It was a very early one. It was one of the ones where you're like, for God's sake, they're all in real time. They just live in the woods and haven't bothered to walk past because some people dressed as trees or something.
I think it was like The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, then The Village, and then he came back to Glass.
Yeah.
This is the sequel to
Unbreakable. Must have been one of his first ones.
Yeah, I think Sixth Sense was his first big one, then it was Unbreakable. But
that was like 90s, wasn't it? Were they both 90s? They must have been.
The Village was 2004. The Sixth Sense was 1999.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah.
But I'm talking about Unbreakable. That must have been 90s, 98.
Oh, Split was 2016. Don't think it was that recent. Unbreakable was 2000.
Wow.
Signs 2002. The Village 2004. Glass 2019. No way.
20-year trilogy.
Didn't realize it was that recent. So yeah, number 4 is Signs. And I did think that was really good. The crop circles.
Aliens. Yep.
Yeah. And then you've got number 3 is Split. I think that's warranted.
It's number 1, I See Dead People.
Yes. And number 2 must be
Glass.
Unbreakable.
Oh, Unbreakable, yeah.
So yeah, I thought
and number 1 is, just so we can tell everyone,
The Sixth Sense.
Yep.
And I'd put Trap possibly in number 1. Actually, Split would be my favourite, I think. Then
Trap. It doesn't actually have a twist, does it?
But that's the twist. M. Night Shyamalan does twists, and the twist is this doesn't have a twist. Except he gets out when he shouldn't get out.
And you say, what's the I See Dead People one again?
The Sixth
Sense. Arguably one of the best twists in cinema.
Yeah, it was the biggest twist and shocker, and it was the first time we heard the word spoiler, I think. That was the epitome of when spoilers happened.
No, the greatest twist ever was way before that.
Don't say the film.
Kaiser Soze.
Write in on a postcard if you know the film that James is going to say.
Let's all be honest. Who watched well, maybe not now because everyone knows the whole thing, but who watched Usual Suspects not knowing what was going to happen and predicted the end? No one.
Yeah, literally no one. I'm trying to think as well. I had another one lined up as well from the other day. Where is it? This one. Right. Some of these films I don't think I've even seen, but this is the top 10 movies for goths. This is it because of The Crow.
Number 1's The Crow. Can I guess some others might be in there? Nightmare Before Christmas?
No.
Coraline?
Should be, though.
Yeah, Coraline. Beetlejuice?
None of them are in there.
Oh, wow. Better some vampire stuff in there.
Yes. Black Sunday is number 10. What the hell was that?
No idea.
Black Sunday. Oh, it's a 1960s goth film.
Yeah, no goths have seen that.
Queen of the Damned. That was good fun.
Was that the one with like the really rocky, like maybe Disturbed or
Yes.
not? What were they called? Drowning Pool? Didn't they
Drown It.
do, or
Yeah.
Static X? Didn't they have all like them bands do the
It's the sort of thing that kind of sounded cool when you were younger, but when you it's not
just
great
cheese in it?
metal. Yeah, it's
Cheese,
cheese.
yeah.
Number 8 is Underworld.
Yes, the first one was good. The other
That was
35 they did weren't very.
that was a bit different when it first came out. Number 7 is Edward Scissorhands.
Ah, it's a shout actually. Also, how old were you when you realised he was a robot?
Who?
Edward Scissorhands.
It's not Robot.
He's a robot.
Is he a robot?
Yeah.
Isn't it? What? No, isn't he a person or a...
No. No. If you go back and watch it now, he's a robot that his creator was creating. The reason he has the scissor hands is because the creator died before he made his hands. He's an android. He's a robot.
No.
Very first scene, you see the guy with all the pieces and that. He's making robots.
Oh, it says the solitary life of an artificial man who was incompletely constructed and
Yep.
has scissors for hands. And he is upended when he's taken in by a suburban family. It is a great film.
The first scene in the film, I believe you see like the guy's workshop, and he hasn't created the hands yet. That's why he has the scissor hands.
Ah.
How old were you when you learned that? I mean, I was like, I learned that a couple of years ago.
I was listening to a podcast today, Smartlist, the one with Jason Bateman, and those three, and they had Michael Keaton on as a guest.
Brilliant.
And I could listen to Michael Keaton for hours. He's got so much energy, and he's just the coolest guy. And he's talking about Beetlejuice and when they filmed it, and he had not done anything quite as mad as that before, but he did some stand-up comedy and stuff. And Tim Burton really wanted him for the role, and because there was no big producers behind it, like it wasn't Universal or whatever, like someone demanding, and it was so, or it was, but it was so low budget that they could get away with anything to a degree, and he just kept being as outlandish as he could, and Tim Burton was just laughing and watching, and he was like, no one's telling me off or to rein it in, so I'm just going to go a bit bigger.
That in Tim Burton's Batman with Michael Keaton. You know, when he's got the Joker in his house, he starts smashing everything up. He's like, let's get nuts. Want to go nuts?
Yeah, let's get nuts.
Everyone forgets about that scene. That's like Bruce Wayne being mental.
Well, they were talking about that, not that particular scene, but a similar scene today when they're talking about Batman, because obviously Michael Keaton is not the person you want to employ for Batman in the 90s. Like, there's bigger stars and people to play a bigger role. And Tim Burton was like, no, we're having him. And you're like, well, how are we doing this? Are we going big? Are we going theatrical? What are we doing? He goes, we're doing it all. And when he's being Bruce Wayne in the mansion, it's one of the scenes where I was going to say Michelle Pfeiffer. Who's it? Who's the girl in it?
It's not Michelle Pfeiffer. It's the blonde lady with the long blonde hair. Can't think of her name.
Me neither. Kim Basinger.
Yeah.
Kim Basinger. So yeah, so it's the scene where they're chatting, I think, and he goes, I'm just going to be a bit wild and out there because he's so wealthy, he's so rich, he's got such a big place. He's standing there chatting to her, and he goes, oh wait, I don't think I've been in this room before. It's like, what are you on about? And it's like he's straddling that line of pretentiousness, but he's putting in comedy when it's not meant to be a comedy. Obviously, the Finnish article has got comic elements now because it's so comic booky, but it is very dark as well. It's
excellent
goth
movie
and comedy. It's good kind of mix, isn't it? But yeah, I thought it was great. Number 6 in the goth list is Hellraiser.
I wouldn't put it gothy, but I get that.
I think it's because they're all wearing leather and strapped up with pinheads, and they got weird stuff, but they're all leather.
I wouldn't put that as a goth movie in the slightest.
I wouldn't either, massively. The number 5 is The Craft. That was a good film.
That's gothy, yeah.
That was amazing, to be fair. Number 4, Corpse Bride.
Well, did I say that one?
You said the other film.
No, I said the other two.
Coraline.
Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline, yeah.
Aren't they connected, though?
They're all Tim Burton, I believe.
Yeah, all Tim Burton. Number 3, classic, Interview with a Vampire.
Love that film. Wouldn't say it's a gothy film, though. I would say
That's it.
goths don't even know that film exists.
If you're talking about vampire films, there's a whole bigger list of vampire films.
Yeah, as vampire films go, it's one of the best, but it's also probably one of the ones that people forget.
And the top two are a bit confusing because I do disagree, but I also don't
If
disagree
The
they should
Crow's
be in
number
that
one, that's
position.
ridiculous.
Number one, well, number two is The Crow. So
What's number one then?
The Addams Family.
Oh yeah, obviously, yeah, no, absolute touch.
But Addams Family Values is better.
Yes, I would say so. The summer camp.
Yeah. That's so good.
That's two of the best comedies of all time.
Yeah. I mean they're both good, so I can't really deny
There's
that.
just scenes in it you didn't understand as a kid. Like I watched one of them the other day. I think it was Values, and they're at camp, and this like well-to-do bloke and wife or whatever is with their son. They're like, oh, he's done this, and this, or his scholarships and that. And then it cuts to Gomez and Pudsey, and he's like, probation. But there's that scene where they're doing the swimming in it, and that girl jumps in, pretends to drown, and Wednesday's just staring at her. She's like,
Ages.
I can't swim. Just looks like girl sinking.
And then they all panic. Yeah. No, I like that. I like that. And yeah, no, I was over my parents over. I think it must have been Christmas last year, and all these films are playing again. So I popped over for like my parents for like 10, 15 minutes to drop something off. I ended up staying for an hour to watch the rest of Addams Family.
I wouldn't be surprised if Beetlejuice brings a resurgence in the Addams Family and stuff.
Well, Jenna Ortega's filming Wednesday, the sequel to that series, as we speak.
Yeah. Addams Family is honestly one of the greatest comedies ever that most people haven't seen.
Well, and that's it. Well, when this comes out, the film will be out. But Beetlejuice is out this Friday. So when
You
you
know they're
listen
doing a
to this,
third, hence the name, don't you?
well, he says they're not doing a third.
That
I
would
mean,
be a blockbuster smash. I reckon that will clean up at the box office.
well, this one is. I thought this would get slammed. It would just be people like us that liked it, but everyone's
No,
going
I
wild
always
for
thought it was doing good. Because the way, whether they had a plan all along to put Jenna Ortega as Wednesday, because fans of that, this is a natural progression. She's basically Wednesday in another film.
Kind of. She got interviewed about that and said, "Did Wednesday prepare you for this?" And I mean, as an actor, you're going to say no because it's a completely different character, but it
Is
is
it a different
similar.
character though? When you watch the trailers,
Well,
is it a different character?
she's not playing Winona Ryder in the initial Beetlejuice, as in she's not playing the similar character. She's the daughter of Winona Ryder, and Winona Ryder is obviously that gothy kid who is closer to Wednesday. But Jen Ortega playing the daughter is less like that. Apparently, she's more like embarrassed of her mum, like Winona Ryder was of Catherine O'Hara in the first film. But less than being gothy, she's embarrassed because she's living in a haunted house and she's getting teased at school. So she's actually quite bashful about it. So she's playing slightly different,
But I
apparently.
think that the role, if you look at the type of movie, all the fans from Wednesday will look at the Beetlejuice trailers and be like, same thing, love it.
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely going to connect them. Even if even the character's slightly different, it's not a problem. It's still going to be good. But
yeah, I think it will do really well.
I was just looking at the next thing I was going to mention about another top 10 thing, and I forgot to mention it in our episode with Elijah Baker because we were talking about, oh crap, what was it? The Alien films. Oh yeah, that was it. Remember you mentioned about the wrong director filming a different film and it being a completely different sort of movie in the end. Well, you know,
yeah, Michael Bay does Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah. Well, do you know? I mean, this is not a test because I don't expect you to know, but I only read it the other day.
It is a test.
Okay. Well, guess which director was meant to direct Alien, the horror film with Sigourney Weaver, Alien.
Either Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg.
Boom, Spielberg. And I think it was, and he's and it was Spielberg that came out and told people. It was an interview with him.
I'm glad
he
didn't do it.
Well, he's glad he didn't do it as well. He said, I got the opportunity to direct Alien, but I had a completely different concept, and
It
it
would
would
have
have
been
been
a
a
lot
lot more
more
family
Hollywood, I
friendly.
think. A lot
We
more.
said it'd be family friendly, like ET.
Yeah. It still makes me
So,
laugh that E.T. is in Star Wars and Yoda is in E.T.
oh yes,
Because there's a
yeah, because
scene
you see in
in
the background,
E.T.
don't
where
you?
someone's dressed as Yoda, and there's a
Yeah.
scene in one of the newest Star Wars where they pan out to this massive, like, there's all little groups of different people, and there's like a whole group of E.T.s.
Yes, I remember that. That was on one of those quiz things of like things you wouldn't know. But yeah, well, there's this list, right? So this is another top 10, and it was the best movies that were originally panned by critics, as in films that got released and everyone hated. All the critics said it's the worst film released and it's a pile of shit, and we know them as classics. So in the top 10, it's number 10 is Predator. Apparently that was a failure.
First one with Arnie.
First one. How is that a failure in anyone's eyes?
Thing is,
And
this goes back to that whole thing that Matt Damon was saying. He's saying you aren't, a lot of these films didn't do great at the cinema. They got their money off, like a lot of Tarantino films made their money through the after sales.
yeah, and
Which
that's
is
it.
why, again, people don't take the risk anymore. Apart from your A24 or A21, whatever they're called, they can't afford to take a hit, can they? But then Disney just take a hit anyway. But
Yeah, I mean Disney are not taking wild swings, but their hits are misses because they're going too safe. You know, She-Hulk and all that sort of
the
shit.
problem is with Disney at the moment, they're pandering to a very small group with a very loud voice. Like 98% of people aren't interested in that crap. Like She-Hulk might be, I'm going to go out and say it might be one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I mean, I didn't for Marvel. I thought it was terrible, but I didn't hate it when I was watching it until certain things happened. I was like, "What is this?
The scene
Is
where
this a,
she
is this
walks
a
into
sitcom?"
an office, there's a brilliant meme where she walks into the office with a suit on, and someone's put a meme being like, "This is like playing Premier Manager in like 1996." Like the animation was so bad, it was like not even like a PlayStation animation. It was so awful.
And
Like
what
the
was it?
budget for that program, ironically, I'm pretty sure they said the budget for that, like one episode, was something ridiculous. They compared it to an actual film that came out, and they said, yeah, the budget for this film was one episode of She-Hulk.
She-Hulk budget per episode was 25 million.
Really? Like, how many films have been made in the last year for less than that? That are
Ent-
like one episode. How many
the
episodes were there?
entire series was 225 million.
Does it say how much it lost them? It's not a movie, so it's hard to put a number on it, I guess.
Some of the biggest films and most expensive films have been around 100 million. So it's
What were
almost
they thinking? The thing is, though, Disney, though, someone must have watched that back and been like, this looks awful. That's what makes me laugh the most. Like, there's, it's like, it's like you watch it and be like, that looks terrible. Like, did no one look at it?
I know. I
It's like
mean,
Harrison Ford's the Hulk now.
well, he's Red Hulk, different
Yeah.
Hulk.
But even that special effects looks better. Doesn't look great.
It's
It
probably
doesn't. The
it's
irony is,
probably
it doesn't look as
150 million
good.
for that one film.
But it doesn't look as good as Mark Ruffalo did. When was the first Avengers film with the Hulk? Like 8 years ago, maybe.
Yeah,
Like,
I still
how is
like the
it?
Edward Norton one, to be honest.
That was bad special effects as well. But like the first Mark Ruffalo one, you watched that and thought this looks really cool. And how long ago was that? Like nearly 10 years later, and they can't get half as good.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's but like you go back to things like Predator, like we're talking about as well, because they're using more practical effects and stuff. And again, going to Beetlejuice, Jen Ortega commented, "This is the first film I've been involved with practical effects, and it was such a unique experience and joy to be able to work with that and be able to bounce off
Well, that's what they
actual
did in
things."
Romulus, wasn't it? They actually built the aliens.
Yeah, and they had people in Aliens to walk
Yeah, I
them as
watched the
well,
behind
and
the scenes things, and he
animatronics.
was saying we wanted to give the original look, so we actually did build the actual things.
Imagine if you watched Alien Romulus and it was loads of CGI aliens running around. That would piss everyone off.
so
just
bad.
wouldn't work. And
It's like when you watch Jurassic World now. It's like
we
they're pretty.
expect it with
Actually, do you know
Marvel.
what? Actually, credit where credit's due. The special effects on Jurassic World films is pretty tip top.
I like the effects, to be honest. The last film I thought was rubbish, and that was so disappointing because I had the original characters like Jeff Goldblum came back and Sam Neill. They all came back, and I
Was
thought
that the one with the
it's gonna be
volcano
amazing.
eruption on the island?
No, don't think so. This was the one with all
There's so many.
the bugs, all the bugs. There was like hardly any dinosaurs, and they ended up in Egypt or something with raptors or some shit,
Oh,
some
God, I
deserty
lose
place.
track. There's one where people like auctioning off dinosaurs and they let them all out into like the city at the end. It's like the most like reckless
Yeah,
thing to do. It's like just
I
let
think
them out, let them be free.
I think the volcano thing wasn't was it a volcano thing?
The volcano erupted on the original Jurassic Park island.
Wasn't it the first of the new
No,
trio?
no,
Whatever
no,
happened?
no, because it was Jurassic World, then maybe Jurassic World Dominion, which is Dominion. I think was when the earthquake went, when the
What's the one
volcano
with
went off.
all the pterodactyls come out and start picking off the people? Just grab. That's the first one, isn't it?
That's the first one. Yeah, they
Yeah,
just
that
leave
was
the island
great.
at that point. Great movie.
That was great. I was like well impressed by
And do
that
you know what
because
the best thing about that
it's got
movie
that big.
was?
It's got that big sea monster like as like
Mosasaurus. Yeah.
in the
Um.
and jumps up. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
Mosasaurus. I know all the dinosaurs now because Reef knows them all.
I guess
We're actually in the process of playing through Lego Jurassic Park and Lego Jurassic World at the moment on the PlayStation,
Lego
and they're
Jurassic Park.
carbon copies of the movie, so you have to do actual scenes in the film and stuff, like digging in the poo and like the spheres that you go in and stuff. It's
Oh yeah,
really
yeah.
cool.
See, that's
But
it.
the
We
best
always
thing
say
about
things
Jurassic
like we don't want to be a kid these days because you miss out on the things that we had as a kid. But and then you hear there's Lego Jurassic Park. I'd
well, the
love
best
to
thing
play
about
that.
Jurassic World was it wasn't a remake, it was a reboot. Because there's a scene that when they go to the old Jurassic Park, isn't there? And they find the old van, and the guy's wearing the old T-shirt that you got on eBay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So it is set on the same islands as the original one, but they've kind of like jazzed it up. And
yeah.
the only person that's in all the movies, even the original, is the Asian dude who's the scientist. Same guy.
Yes, yeah. Who's in the first one and that most recent one as well? Yeah,
I think he's in all of them.
I know exactly who he is. He's in loads of stuff as well. I can't think of his name, but I do know it.
I mean, you
Jurassic
could
Park.
Google the cast of Jurassic World. It's really small cast when you look at it. Very
Well,
small
have
cast.
you seen the? I wouldn't even call it a trailer. But the new, was it called Rebirth? The new one that's coming out in 2025. There's a new trailer
No,
for it. Scarlett Johansson. The Asian guy is called BD Wong.
BD Wong. Is that
Yeah,
serious?
literally
Brilliant.
BD Wong. And he was in films such as the Jurassic Park, Mr. Robot. He's in Mulan, stuff like that.
Um, yeah, yeah. You know, oh, BD Wong.
BD Wong. He was in. I'm sure he's in loads. I think he's in loads of little
Sounds like
tiny
he's friends
parts.
with C3PO and R2D2, don't he?
And right, so go back to films that were panned, were claimed were rubbish. Number 9 is It's a Wonderful Life. I don't know if you've seen that, the black
I
and white
haven't, but I
movie.
know about it.
That is one of those films that passed me by forever, and people. It's like those classic black and white films people say you should see, and then you don't. I watched it once, and for a black and white movie, which was I think 60s, or yeah, it's got to be 60s. It's about 2.5 hours long, which must be like the longest film ever in the 60s.
I've never seen
And
Citizen Kane, though, to be fair.
it's epic. Citizen Kane is as good as people say. That is epic. That is, when you get a film.
It hasn't. That one's completely dipped out the IMDb charts now, though, hasn't it? Which is a generational thing, I think.
Probably, but
Which is
it's
why I
still,
think you've got to take IMDb chart with a pinch of salt,
well, of course,
because a lot
just
of these people
opinions.
voting have never seen a lot of films.
Well, if you look at Citizen Kane is one of those films again that's been classed as one of the best films, like The Third Man and stuff like that. And you watch them, even with today's sentiment, and they still are incredible because you can see how much, because it's all again practical effects, but in films these days, like I just mentioned with, keep going back to Jenna Ortega and Beetlejuice, but she was loving the practical effects and the difference that makes in filming scenes. Whereas if you look at Citizen Kane, he's experimenting. Nothing had been done before. They filmed with cameras that point and shoot. This is one of the earliest films where he's doing things in shooting through glasses to create warps in the visuals. He's shooting from up angles, down angles. I mean, it sounds basic, but there's so many creative shots that you notice them in this film. It's so good. Number 8 is shocking. This was panned. I got the VHS for Christmas. Home Alone.
Really?
How was that panned? That's
I
got
thought
to
it was
be.
like a blockbuster.
Oh, again, it might have been cinema they're talking about, because I think every child in my school got Home Alone on VHS for Christmas because it came out for Christmas.
But you got to think though, back in, when was that? 93? 94?
I think it was earlier.
I'm going to say 93 at a throw.
I'm going to say 91.
Nah,
Let's
that's
have a look.
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves style.
1990, even earlier.
Whoa. But when you were that age, cinema wasn't necessarily that accessible.
When I was a kid. Home Alone 2 was 1992, so it's quite actually fairly quick turnaround. And it must have been
Donald
from
Trump's in that.
Yeah, and it must have been from the success of the VHS sales, because if it didn't do very good in the cinema, that's probably because kids don't care about cinema, but they watch
Quick
TV.
turnaround though. 2 movies
That's
in
what I
2
mean.
years.
Yeah, so they
They
must
must
have
have pretty
had,
much started filming the second one as they finished the first one.
and yeah, I just don't know how anyone could think Home Alone was a bad film. Like who?
It was different, wasn't it?
Number 7, I can understand people not
Imagine it
liking
was
it.
7.
That's not in this list.
It shouldn't be.
Fight Club. I thought that was pretty epic from the beginning, but I think a lot of people probably pissed a lot of people off, that one.
Confusing film. For some people.
Well, even on the build up to it, I don't know why, I've seen that a few times in the last week. There's an interview of Brad Pitt when he's like blonde hair tips, like Fight Club era, and he's like chatting to someone who goes, "Yeah, we're filming this film at the moment called Fight Club," and they're like, "Oh, great, what's it about?" And he goes, "Well, it's about a couple of guys. They start an underground boxing ring, and but we mix it up a little." I'm like, that is the worst description of that film.
What had he done before that? Interview with the Vampire, obviously, was early 90s.
Obviously, I was going to say Turner
7?
and Hooch. Not
Was
Turner
7
and
before
Hooch.
that?
No. This was definitely earlier.
I don't know. I
Maybe
think
he'd done
Fight Club
Snatch.
was after 7.
Maybe he'd done Snatch.
I think he'd done 7.
Anyway, I've got to say, what film? I was saying Turner and Hooch. What am I thinking of?
Yeah, Turner and Hooch is still 100% not Brad Pitt. But
No, I know. I'm saying two names, and it's the two women that kill themselves. What's
Bonnie and
that film?
Clyde. Oh, not Bonnie and Clyde.
That's no.
It's Gina, whatever she's
Gina
called.
Davies.
Thelma and Louise.
Thelma and Louise. Why
I
was
hate
my
that
brain?
film. I hate that film.
Great film.
I don't say the word hate a lot. Do you know why I hate it? Because it was one of our contextual things in film studies, so I had to watch it like 7 or 8 times, and it's so... The more you watch it, the worse it gets.
Well, I say, if you're forced to watch it, it's not going to be that good. Oh, Brad Pitt did a load of weird shit. He's done lots of stuff. He was in the original 21 Jump Street series with why is his name escaping me? Edward Scissorhands.
Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And Johnny Depp is the main guy.
A lot of people don't know that was a TV series.
I didn't.
That was one of Johnny Depp's first things. Apart from, obviously, Nightmare on Elm Street was number 1.
Yeah, Thelma and Louise was
His first film,
91.
anyway.
And then he did California with a K. He did True Romance in 93.
Great movie.
Interview with a Vampire 94.
I thought that was earlier.
Legends of a Fall 94. 7. Oh, 95 was good for him. He did 7 and 12 Monkeys.
Yeah, I knew 7 was early. Snatch is nearly 2000, didn't it?
Wow. Meet Joe Black was one of his big ones as well, 98. Oh, Fight Club was 99.
When was Snatch in 2000 something?
2000.
Yeah, I thought it was around that time.
And then he did Friends in 2001. And Ocean's 11 was 2001.
Love those Ocean's films.
That's when he went from a good actor to that was hot. Ocean's 11's what made him Hollywood. 7 should have, Fight Club should have, but I think Ocean's 11 was the big one.
I don't know. 7 was a pretty big film. Classic
Yeah.
90s detective stuff, crime.
But yeah, mad. And then number 6 on the films that are panned was The Thing, which we bring up quite a lot because it's one of the best horrors ever.
I think how many good crime films Morgan Freeman's been in, by the way. 7, Along Came a Spider, Kiss the Girls, Shawshank. You could really put that as a crime-related thing.
Yeah.
If you imagine Morgan Freeman, don't you always picture him with a trilby on in like a trench coat, solving something?
He's going to be. I mean, he was old in everything. Didn't we talk about that before? When he was in Shawshank Redemption, he was like 40.
No, I think we were talking about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He was 106, and that was like 1991 or 1990.
Oh my god, the amount of stuff he's been in. He's got 380 things on filmography.
Ridiculous. Do you know what's quite funny? If you Google him at college, he looks exactly the same again. He's like Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly. They've only ever been old.
But he was in films in the 60s. Morgan Freeman.
Remember when we Googled how old Clint was? Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, that's shocking, isn't it?
He's 164 now.
Yeah, he's been in far too many films. I can't even get round to doing that. Number 5 was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
The original or the Johnny Depp?
Original.
I can see that. Very out there movie, very old movie as well. What was that 78?
God, you're really testing me now by 71.
Oh, whoa!
And to be fair, it was Gene Wilder was the wild card in that casting as well because he was batshit crazy in a good way.
Do you know the story about the opening scene?
Which one?
He was when he comes out with the walking stick, and he was like, "I'm not doing that." And he does a forward roly poly and gets up, and they're like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Yeah, that's how I'm doing it. I'm not doing the film." Like,
I watched the documentary. Gene Wilder's got a documentary on some channel, might be Netflix. I only watched it about a month or so ago, so it's fairly recent. And it's obviously he's passed away now, so it's about his life. And they talk about that scene. But he also talks about loads of scenes in Willy Wonka, and he's like, he kept changing things because the point is that he's meant to be a trickster.
A child.
He's meant to be a bit odd. And it was filmed like him just being this Willy Wonka guy who just goes, "Hey, come into my chocolate factory. Hey, here's gifts, here's things, and be jolly." But he deliberately was really quite annoying and a bit weird because he's got to be tricky. And there's the scene where, I don't remember this particularly from the film, but they showed a clip on this documentary, and it's where Charlie comes in with his granddad into this room, and Willy Wonka, basically Gene Wilder, screams at the child.
It's when he gives back the everlasting gobstopper at the end. That's his test.
Yeah, it's like furiously angry at the kid.
Yeah, he goes mental.
And because the kid actually responds in a genuine way, he goes, "You've passed the test," or something, and gives him whatever he gives him.
Yeah, because Squidsworth, whatever he's called, is the Slugsworth, whatever he's called. It's the guy with the glasses who offers him money to steal the everlasting gobstopper.
Also, I don't even remember the film that well. I mean, I know the film, but just not in detail.
Slugsworth? I think that's what it's called.
Have you seen the bit where it's got a picture of the granddad with his hand on the shoulder of Charlie, and if you zoom in, he's got a massive fingernail on his little tiny pinky, which is for sniffing cocaine.
Yep. Isn't it funny when you watch films like that how old children look?
And adults. There's like playing granddads and they're like 36.
You look at Charlie and he's got like borderline receding hairline. He's like 11 years old. Have you seen him these days? The guy that plays Charlie has a massive like moustache and stuff.
No, that's weird. That is weird. All right, number 4, Psycho.
What, the Hitchcock one?
Yeah.
That was what, 70s again?
Yeah, and again, that's got to be revolutionary for its time. So I can imagine that being a bit hit and miss, and because it's a horror.
First film with cross-dressing him, arguably.
Ooh, that might be why it didn't work. for people. Yeah, it was 1960 that came out. And it's kind of not what's advertised. I mean, that's the poster. It's basically a
Wait,
woman in
what?
her
What's
underwear.
going on with the dude down here with no hands?
He's climbing.
What? It looks ridiculous. Is that the worst, arguably candidate for worst movie poster ever?
But it's a new and altogether
Also, that was in a time when
different.
movie posters were really good.
Yeah, it says a new and altogether different screen excitement, and it's got a woman in her underwear. That doesn't
And a bloke
dictate.
with no hands.
I think it's misleading. So
Terrible poster.
I think it probably didn't do well because it wasn't what people were expecting, and it probably shocked them at the time. Because in 1960, you didn't get to see any sort of flesh in that scene.
Didn't you
It's
get a
not,
lot of horrors back then, did you?
it's not about the murder. It's the fact that she's naked in the shower. That was probably the most shocking part from the 60s. Because obviously it's technically the 50s. You know, it's 1960 is an offshoot of the 50s where everyone was a lot more crude.
The proper murderer serial killer thing back then was probably quite new.
Yeah, especially as violent as that was for the time as well. Okay, top 3 films that were panned was The Wizard of Oz.
Was that the one with the hanging munchkin in the back?
It was kind of almost a horror for kids, wasn't it? It wasn't.
It was 100% a horror movie, yeah. Like, there's that thing about the munchkin that's hanging from a tree in there.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, there's that
Remember
whole
the
thing. There's a scene where there's like a munchkin like hung in the back. It's like
Really?
Google it. Yeah.
In a kids' film?
Yes, 100%. Google it. Munchkin hanging from tree.
Munchkin scenes.
Your Google search is going to be great. No, it's not a scene. It's just in the background.
Hanging Munchkin in the background.
Yep. It's a real dark movie.
Oh, in the remastered, it's gone.
Yeah, but in the original, it was there. You know, certain things had to maybe not have that.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say if I like the film or not. It's just a film. Like, a lot of people bang on about it.
Monkeys with wings. I mean, what's more terrifying than a monkey that can fly?
Oh, have you seen the new trailer for the new film, Wicked?
Oh.
I mean, come on.
I mean, for a kids' film, it's probably a lot of fun.
I must admit, the trailer looks better than it should, and I'm not interested in it. But
I don't know
like
the story of Wicked, to be fair.
It looked like a decent film for kids. It's the prequel to Wizard of Oz, and it's got.
I didn't know that. So
what's
probably
the girl
actually. I would say something. It's good that Ariana Grande is a good little actress.
That's it.
And the other girl who plays the main witch, the Green Witch, I'm unaware of.
Cynthia Erivo. I think she's a singer.
I imagine there's some singing goes on in that film at some point.
Yeah. She was in Pinocchio and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, she's an actress.
You'll probably do well because Wicked, the stage show, is very, as far as I'm aware, very popular.
And it's got Jonathan Bailey in it, who is also in the new Jurassic Park.
Who plays the Wizard of Oz? Is it
look, Jonathan Bailey?
That's just a blur to me. I can see him. He's got some guns.
Doesn't he look like?
Is Jeff Goldblum the Wizard of Oz?
Yes, correct. Doesn't this guy, Jonathan Bailey, who's come from nowhere, but apparently he's in loads of stuff from like Broadchurch to Bridgerton, that type of stuff. But he looks like, what's that children duo? The two
Dick and Dom.
Dick and Dom. He looks like one of them. One does the snot things and stuff. Shout snot.
Bogies.
That's who he looks like, and he's in the new Jurassic Park film.
Is it a complete recast then? No Chris Pratt, no nothing. It's a reimagination.
Yes, completely. And it's written by the guy who did the original, apparently.
Michael Crichton?
I think so. Or the original.
I'm pretty sure it's Michael Crichton wrote the book.
There's someone original that was involved in the original film.
I think the book was written by Michael Crichton.
It was, yes, but it might be a screenplay adaptation that was written for film that's doing it. So it might
fact, you know, velociraptors were invented for Jurassic Park.
Yeah, because they got wings and shit, haven't they?
Yeah, in reality, they're quite little. I mean, the velociraptor wasn't invented, but the stylization of the velociraptor was invented for that film. Because really, they're like small winged-based animals.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Feathers and stuff. You probably boot one and beat it.
And the Wicked film, to be honest, the trailer, it's not my kind of cup of tea, but it looks
good.
I think it looks good quality, even if it's going to be
it doesn't look like bad CGI cheese. It's like, I look at it and think that's probably going to do well. Am I
Yeah.
going to watch it? Probably
And-
not.
And that's the premise. It's Ariana Grande being not the nice witch, but the white one, and then her being the green one. And when they get to meet the wizard, Jeff Goldblum, it's in the trailer, says, I am not here to be a villain, but people need a bad guy so they can root together and become better people. So he pretends to be a bad guy so that everyone else
I mean,
gets along better.
I'll probably never watch it, if I'm
That's
honest.
the
It's not even
premise.
one of the things I'll watch when it's on Netflix. I'll probably never watch it.
No, unless Reef wants to watch it, that type of
No,
thing.
he will not want to watch that.
There's no monsters killing each other.
No.
Right, the last two are. I'm shocked by this because this is in my top 3 horror of all
Wait, can I
time.
guess? Can I guess?
Okay. One film's already been in my top 3 horror.
I mean, I've
on
really
this list.
thrown out a bold guess there. I've got a guess of any horror ever made that didn't do well. Can I have a clue?
Well, The Thing's one of them.
Is it The Thing?
Well, no, I've already said The Thing. That was number 6. And then this is one of my other favorite horror films.
Well, you always
ever.
like Nightmare on Elm Street. I know that much, but it's probably not one of them.
Definitely up there.
Um,
But I'd say one of the best.
best horror films: Friday the 13th, Halloween, original Halloween.
Think less horror, but horror. It's still horror. It's 100% horror. It's nothing
Nosferatu.
else. But it's more psychological and then violent. It's not a guy running around murdering people.
It's more
I'm not sure a
psychological.
single murder happens in the film.
Rough year.
70s? Early?
Twilight Zone.
No.
Day the Earth Stood
Cool.
Still.
It's actually 1980. One of the lead stars died this year,
Oh, it doesn't help me.
and the other lead star hasn't done a movie in years.
Doesn't help me. I don't pay any attention to famous people's
It's
lives.
got one of the most famous patterns associated with horror movies.
Tubular Bells.
No, that's music. Patterns as in diagrams on the floor, images.
Omen.
No, a carpet.
Oh wait, The Shining.
Bingo.
Great movie.
Yeah. I don't know why that was panned originally because
Someone said patterns on the floor. I didn't get it from that at all. I just thought
it's just unreal. It's the most.
when you said tune, I was like Tubular Bells.
Yeah.
That's Halloween, though, isn't it?
No, Exorcist.
Exorcist,
Tubular
yeah.
Bells.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but what how that did at the cinema? Got itself banned, so
Yeah, I think that was a sensation, so people went to it as well. But yeah, I can't believe people didn't like that when it first came out, or it didn't do well at the
Shining,
box
wow.
office. Because
especially because people probably read the books before as well.
And it's Jack Nicholson, who was probably one of the biggest stars at the time.
Well, yeah, he would have done Easy Riders at the time, wouldn't he?
And he refused to do.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest before that as well.
Yeah, he did Chinatown. He chose to do Chinatown as opposed to The Godfather. He refused Godfather, and he refused it because he's like, "Who's in it?" And they go, "Marlon Brando." And he's like, "I'm in. Do I have a scene with him?" And they went, "No." And he went, "I'm out."
I mean, not the best career decision, but he did all right afterwards, so.
Well, he decided to play a main part in Chinatown as opposed to being a bit part in a film with the greatest actor in the world at the time, but not really in a scene with him. So it was kind of pointless for him.
Well, we all know where Jack Nicholson's going to be in a couple of weeks' time, don't we?
Where's that?
Floor seats at the Lakers. He's there every year.
Oh, is he?
He's got floor seats at the Lakers, yeah, he loves it.
I love Jack Nicholson. Saw another clip today. One of his best films. I mean, Jack Nicholson has got
Going back to Batman again.
Yes, exactly. He's got an impeccable career. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is one of my favourite films.
Batman was probably
Shining.
my first experience of him, because obviously I didn't see The Shining when I was 6 years old.
Fair enough, yeah. I'd say One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and The Shining are in my top 10.
Easy
But
Rider is a
also-
bit part, but he's good in it.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. It's good for what it is, but it's like 2001: A Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick. Incredible film. Not really that rewatchable. It's more of an arty film. It's not enjoyable to rewatch. But One of my favorites of Jack Nicholson for just pure fun is As Good as It Gets, where he plays the grumpy man. You seen
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Do you know what?
It's got Greg Kinnear and
I can't
Helen
actually
Hunt in
reel
it.
off that many of his films.
Cuba Gooding Jr. It's where he lives in an apartment and there's a gay guy who lives opposite.
He stopped
And
acting a long time ago, didn't he?
yeah, I think The Departed was his last film. And there's a gay guy who lives opposite, and he keeps being nice to him. And Jack Nicholson is horrible, and I think he's got something wrong with him. Like, he doesn't step on cracks on the floor. He's rude to people. He brings his own cutlery to restaurants. He's got OCD of some sort, but it's not OCD. It's some other condition.
It's like Monk. We have to like touch every one of the aerials.
Something along that line. Like, even when he's trying to be nice, he's so honest that he's really ferociously disgusting, but he doesn't realize he's being horrible to people. He's just being honest. And he has to apologize to someone, and to get the apology, she makes him go on a road trip with the gay guy that he hates, to go and do a favor, because she goes, "You've never done anything nice for anyone. Do this." And it's just an amazing film, just like warm-hearted but funny. Number one film that was panned by critics is, I don't know if you want to make a guess. We've mentioned it multiple times
I mean,
today, over the last 3 or 4 episodes, in fact.
something to do with Tarantino.
70s horror, sci-fi.
Alien.
Bingo.
Really?
Insane. I thought that would have been, again, revolutionary at the time.
Suspense horror, was that a new thing then?
I don't know. I just think it was going to be a big, shocking film. I just think
Bear
it
in
was.
mind, that's coming off the back of Star Wars, where people saw a lot of action, flashy bang bang. Maybe they're expecting the same thing.
Yeah, that's it. You're going to see a sci-fi film. It's going to be full of Ewoks and lovely, funny things. And then that happens.
Yeah.
And then you've got Sigourney Weaver just coming at it. Yeah. Epic. Epic. Well, that was the top 10. Can't think of any others now.
No, that was good. That's amazing how bad they did. And imagine if it wasn't for video and that sells back then.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had anything creative now, because
No.
everything would be like, they wouldn't have tested things or taken that risk anymore.
I think that's a prime example why you do get good films now. You don't really get great films, do you?
There's a few, but it's few and far between. It's not like in the 70s, in the 60s, and the 80s, every month was an amazing film. Whereas now, every few months, you get a pretty good one. Like in 1994, that is when Pulp Fiction came out, Forrest Gump came out, Shawshank Redemption came out, and Jurassic Park came out.
And the following year was Toy Story,
But that
like
was in
Ace Ventura, all that lot.
That was in 1 month of that year. There was
Yeah, if you look at 95, what came out in 95, it's like Bad Boys, Toy Story, Ace Ventura, maybe even Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber was 94, actually. Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, and The Mask was all 1994 as well.
And then next year you had Blade, 95, 96.
No.
98, wasn't it?
Bingo. He's learning, folks.
Yeah, 98. But you had Bad Boys, 95.
I think that was 95.
Jerry Bruckheimer.
Yeah.
That was the first big, like, flash bang wallop, sort of, not CGI, but the big booms, wasn't it?
Well, it was, I forgot to ask Elijah on our last episode, but Beverly Hills was the blueprint for Bad Boys. And I don't think they copied, even though they did copy, it's still very different dynamic.
Yes, the first Bad Boys was very much a crime-related action film with some humour. The second Bad Boys was a full-on comedy.
Yeah.
With over-the-top ridiculousness, and every other one went on from there.
Exactly.
That's because Michael Bay got... Do you know what's quite funny, actually? I watched... Michael Bay, I think, actually is a rubbish director. He's a one-trick pony, because... And this is why I think that. Yeah, because, you know his Transformer films with the noises?
Yeah.
And he let Megan Fox be in it. He did Turtles, didn't he, with Megan Fox? And there's a scene where Shredder is walking. It's like exactly the same noise as the Transformers in
Really?
exactly the same animation. To the point where Shredder could be a Transformer. That's how ridiculous it looks. And I watched it with Reef, being like, "This is awful. Like, it's so CGI. It's ridiculous."
I love Shredder as a kid. That was my favorite out of all them.
I wish they'd redo a good live action Turtles, because the last Turtles was a bit wokey. It was like, it was
Yeah,
all
but
right.
yeah, but ignoring that, it was a great film. If you take out the elements you didn't like, the animation was incredible. The dynamic and the voices of the four turtles as actual teenagers chatting to each other
The
as
issue I
opposed
had with the
was
last
so good.
movie is how flippant the bad guys were. Like, they flipped from being bad to good like that.
Yeah, it's a kids' film, and it
They
was
were like,
good.
"Oh, we're really
Had
bad.
a
It should
good
be
reason
good."
for it.
Oh, yeah, okay, cool. And then they had that one bad. It's like, well, God, at least like have something about you to be like, "No, we're going to stay bad." And that how they made April like an overweight, like black, like girl. It's like, why? Why did you have to do that?
Well, I suppose yeah, it didn't make sense because it didn't copy the. So even I agree. I
And
don't.
she was
I
in
think I
high
don't.
school. She wasn't even a reporter.
I don't even particularly care, but I do agree that it didn't follow that sort of dynamic. But hey, it is. They're going to remake films about the
I
'60s
think
and
the Turtles.
'70s
There's
and
another. There's more new
mix.
Turtles films have come out. By the way, they've just gone straight to Netflix and that, and they're really good.
Oh, really?
Like Turtles at the moment are absolutely flying. Not that you're going to go into them. But if you go into a toy shop now, there is aisles of Turtle stuff. They're like back big time with like
Yeah.
4 or 5, 6 different variants of figures. They've done the movie accurate ones. They've done ones you can interswap things on. One's from the cartoon. One's from the movie that came out. Like, there's so many different. I think there's like 3 or 4 different things going on at the moment with Turtles. Like Nickelodeon have done one. I think Sony have maybe done one. And there's like 2 more. Like, there's loads. And those Transformers. Have you seen the new Transformers film coming out? Transformers One.
Yeah, the cartoon one. Yeah,
That actually looks really funny.
looks quite funny. Yeah, I
Yeah, when
keep
they're
seeing
like
the trailer in the
transforming
cinema.
halfway down, he's like wheels, wheels, wheels. He gets stuck in the mud, and his wheels just go poop.
Yeah, I like that because it's the Bumblebee guy, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just like boop. It
Yeah.
does look really funny.
Are you planning on going to the cinema to see anything? Are you going to go see Beetlejuice, which is
Uh,
out Friday?
yes, I will go and see that. What else is coming out
Reef
next
would be
week?
all right seeing that, wouldn't he? It's PG, I think, isn't it?
He'd be alright watching it, but I don't think he cares about it. He doesn't know what it is. So if I said, "Do you want to go see Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice?" he'd be like, "No," he doesn't
I
know what it
suppose.
is. So it's like,
And
also
it's a lot of
it might be a bit much as well. Like,
it's a lot of adult jokes as well, but I think it's jokes that will go over kids' heads. But
yeah, I
Michael
think
Keaton said
5 might
that
be a bit young for Beetlejuice in
Michael
general.
Keaton was saying that when he does the role, he wants to do it like what he did it originally in the '80s, in the sense that he wants to be politically incorrect. That's what Beetlejuice is. He's a deviant. He's going to try and push the boundaries and be rude and horrible. So
Yeah,
I
I mean, the
think,
makeup I've seen on Michael Keaton looks absolutely brilliant.
yeah, looks identical.
I mean, he's
Yes.
really had a resurgence since Birdman. He did the
Oh,
Spider-Man movie,
yeah.
then obviously
The
the
Founder.
Founder, which is a
Yeah.
brilliant film.
Yeah. There was too many good films.
Yeah, he's
Um,
really had a real like. I mean, bear in mind how long he was away from films,
plus he
like
did.
big movies, and now he's just doing like blockbuster after blockbuster.
I forgot he did that Spotlight movie as well. You know about catching the pedophiles.
Don't know that one.
That was really good.
Mm.
And they did a TV series, Dope Sick. He was in your favorite film as well,
Spider-Verse.
Morbius.
Oh, it's not my favorite film. I think it's an entertaining film. It's not my favorite film. Yeah, but
And
he's
The
only in
Flash.
that. He's only in that because of the character he plays in Spider-Man comes to that universe for like 5 seconds.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's at the end. He's like the end credit scene.
Oh, he's in the other guys. You know, with Mark Wahlberg
Yeah, he's
and
the boss
Will
who also
Ferrell.
works in like the Bed Bath and Beyond. And he's like, we got a sale on like bath mats, and he gets it confused when he's doing like the police reading. He's like,
Oh,
he's been
amazing.
like, he's talking about bath sales. He's like, he's talking to his people in the bed shop, and he's like, we've got a sale on bath mats, blah blah blah. 2 people murdered in think, oh sorry, wrong job. And then he
Oh,
keeps
brilliant.
quoting TLC, doesn't he? TLC songs.
Don't go Jason Waterfalls.
Yeah,
Oh,
but that was when he was
chasing.
kind of like not in the movie scene. He was kind of in that as kind of like it's Michael
Just
Keaton. It's funny.
little bits. Yeah. No, amazing. Well, should we?
Yeah,
It's getting late.
isn't it?
So what episode was that? Oh, we didn't even make a special thing. That what we just did on our own was episode 60.
Oh, 9
We're-
away from magic.
and we'll leave it on that.
This has been Rage Whale. Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope you had a whale of a time.